Did you start coaching high school teams while you were still in high school?
Right at the end of it, yeah.
Okay, how did that come about?
Uh, Bad injury, and my high school coach, J.D. Hall, who has passed, a good
Okay.
mentor. Uh, I guess he saw how much I loved it and how much I wanted to help people, and just kind of gave me that avenue.
And you were doing two different high schools?
No. That was after.
Oh, then after you graduated, you
Yeah,
helped with
yeah.
the other high school. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How's just the process been so far with you calling defensive plays?
I mean, I just press a button and talk to Spillane, and same thing as it was in the spring, so nothing different. Yeah, I wouldn't say anything's really changed from that aspect.
How much is Terrell still able to help you? I know he's been around, but not at the games.
T is always a big part of what we do. I won't get too much into like the logistics of it, but I just want to know that we're always thinking about him. Jenny and I are always praying for him each and every day. But us as a staff, us as a defense, he has a big impact, and he's a big part of that.
What's the process been like from the sense of involving him in like your week and getting the message clear
I'm sorry,
from
say again,
everybody?
I'm sorry.
Just the message from Terrell and Mike all the way down through to the game and into the game. How's that process been for you?
Yeah, same as it's always been. It's been good. We're always going to relay what Braves wants all of us to do. It starts with Braves all the way down, and I think we got a pretty aligned staff and team, and I think the message is easily distributed to the players all across the team, and I think we do a good job of that being aligned.
How do you think the defense is coming along? You should go look last week, like a couple drives, and then you guys took off defensively, doing a lot of things well.
Yeah, we got to start faster. I mean, that's pretty clear, but I love the resiliency of our bunch. I love our guys. I love our staff. I think we do a really good job at responding. I think they are getting better each and every week. We're going to continue to harp on the details, the techniques, and the fundamentals, and I think they take that to heart. I'm proud of them on the way they played this past week, how they responded, even after a slow start. But yeah, just really proud of in the direction we're heading. We just got to keep, like I told them today, it's a week-to-week league. So it doesn't matter what you did this past Sunday, good or bad. We got to start over and put our best foot forward.
What steps have you guys taken in practice this week to start faster?
Yeah, well, one, it starts as a mindset. And we just give them a clear focus of how we want to start each practice. Emphasis, again, on the DTFs, the details, techniques, and fundamentals, and an emphasis on the ball to help create momentum.
What's it like having Jack Gibbons in your meeting room?
It's good. He's like, I mean, I got a lot of guys in that room that are basically like other coaches, but Gibby's up there. He's a smart guy, great leader, great teammate, great friend, great husband, great father. I mean, he's a great guy to have. Good energy. Can catch issues within a call and help fix them. He's basically like another coach in the room.
When you first made the transition from offense to defense, like, what do you remember about that process?
Well, the first day, I thought guys were speaking another language.
Okay.
So, I was just trying to hang on for your dear life in that first meeting. But then once I got settled in, I mean, it just became ball is ball, both sides of the ball. And it became a pretty smooth transition, and I'm excited to be on this side of the ball now.
When Mike calls you and says, like, oh, would you like to join the staff as a defensive quality control coach? Like, what was your reaction? Did you push to be like, oh, well, what about offense? Like, how did you say
No. There was no negotiation. There was none of that. No, I was just
Okay.
excited for the opportunity
Okay.
to get my foot in the door in the NFL. And I
Okay.
appreciate him for that.
I know this is a very basic question, but like how do you learn how to call defensive plays? Like, what was the process for you of learning that skill?
I would say it'd be experience from being around, Shane Bowen, being kind of like his assistant. That was a big influence, and just being around, seeing how he did the process, how he prepped, the kind of flow of how he called it. Another big influence, I would say, was Jim Schwartz. I still reach out to him from time to time. I feel like we have a good relationship, and he's helped me a lot.
How would you describe Spillane as a player and just as a player on and off the field and what he brings to the table for you guys?
As a player on and off the field, he prepares like an absolute pro. Nobody's harder on Spillane than himself, which you love. He has the answer for what he did wrong before you even get to him. He's a great leader. He's a great teammate. He's a physical guy. He's an old school quarterback of the defense. Mike linebacker that has athletic qualities too. I mean, I could go on for hours about Spillane, but he's what you want.
Going to be a coach someday, it sounds like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I hope you'll hire me one day.
How nice is that? You mentioned Gibbons, you mentioned Spillane, having guys on the team that are an extension of what you guys are trying to preach.
Yeah, that's huge, having those guys in the room. Jelani too. Just the brains in that room, and they can spread it onto the guys. Their peers, their teammates. Yeah, that's huge to have.
I've always heard good things about the questions that Marte Mapu asks. Like he asks questions like a coach. Like, what is that, asking a question like a coach?
You can just tell how in-depth it is. You can tell he's visualizing the game. It's very detailed. Tay is extremely detailed. You can tell he's always locked in and focused. You can tell some of the questions they ask, like he's visualizing the game as he's looking at the install. What if this or that? You can tell he's kind of got like those pelts on the wall from playing the position.
Going back to your first answer, what position did you play in football?
I was like a running back, fullback. What they call running back that don't get the ball.
Okay. And what kind of injury did you have?
It was the back, but I don't want to really.
You don't want to get into it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because I remember over the summer you said like it's a long story getting into how you got into coaching.
Yeah.
Is that part of it?
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
is
yeah.
there? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So lower body, coach. That's what you just said.
There
It's hockey.
you go. There you go.
See lower body. That's
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's always been known at that. It's explosive. It's a threat. It's his fastball. You build everything off of that. His tackles they gotta honor that. They gotta open up, which gives you power. It gives you the counters, and so you wish I had every player that had a get off like that. It kind of reminds me of D Ford when I had D back in Kansas City. That type of get off, and so it's great to have.
You guys forced a couple of fumbles last week. Unfortunately, weren't able to recover.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you guys rep in practice? And also, is that
Every
something
week.
that's going to be a big emphasis this week?
Oh yeah, every week we do it. I mean, today was our ball disruption day. Got the hoop, got the lean, and work it. No, it's big. These quarterbacks that keep it up, they don't bring it down. All that stuff. We got to get more of them. That's kind of big thing this week and every week. It's one of those things. Your mind moves in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. So you always got to talk about it and always got to show them clips and put a little, do like a little PowerPoint in between their film that just shoot up a giant brain that says just think, ball out, stuff like that. And so the more you talk about it, the more you stress it. Hopefully they start to come.
When it comes to some of those outside zone plays you guys had last week, where Chase on and you're backdooring the defender slipping inside there, is that just their call whether or not to do that? And then how do you kind of go about setting the edge if they're
we have stunts. We try to keep people honest. Tackles that overset us. It could be a pressure and stuff, or that type of stuff. If they do end up backdooring it the other way, you better flatten out. But it always goes back, if you're going to do it, you better make it. But no, that's very rare that they do that on their own. But no, it's stunts. You try to change the math on these guys and mix it up, and they base it. They basing out on us, and then every once in a while we'll have a jam and we'll take the inside. Great for play passes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's where sometimes you get hard. You see these guys, losing the edge. Well, you were blood in there,
Yeah.
But there'll be times it does happen. So you just try to keep guys honest and have stunts built in where to keep these guys guessing.
Usually, do they? So from the edge set perspective, is that usually coming from the second level, or how do you guys?
Yeah, it could be from a linebacker, it could be from a safety.
Yeah.
We're just exchanging gaps.
Right.
When it comes down to it, but I like that. I just like keeping guys honest and.
Yeah.
And like you said, with these zone teams, and even guys that just base out on us, even tight ends and stuff that we'll mix in and do that as well.
And is that based on looks? Because I know Milton mentioned at the end of the Miami game that he and Harold had kind of communicated that. So is it like if you see a certain thing or if you're getting chipped or what have you?
Yeah, now it goes in the passing game now. Yep, there is some stuff there. You know, like you said, chips. Putting them together. Is there a certain tackle and guard that you got two speeds together? Can we get the tackle to open up because of Harold's get off? Can we get up to open up? Where then now we can pin with Milton and let him get up there and get the sack in the game. No, it's definitely talked about and just trying to put those guys in situations and use their talent to make plays like that.
Can you give us a feel for where you're at with Keon, just knowing, he was not there for
a couple weeks. Yeah, no, it's great to have him back. With Keon is continue learning that position, and when you miss a couple weeks like that, it's tough. But nothing, like I said from the beginning with Keon, is when it clicks and it gets rolling, he's going to be something special. And just glad that he's in one room and he's learning that position. I think, it's easy to talk about, but when you get out there and you see the different things that you get on an edge, from the influence blocks and to the different looks, and now these receivers are digging you out, and then you got the zone read stuff. It's a little bit different from being inside and getting out there and kind of seeing all this different stuff. And so it's starting to slow down for him. But I'm glad that he's back, and because he's going to be a big part of what we do.
And when it comes to Keon lining up inside, just because he was elite in terms of efficiency when he did it, is that still something you guys find to be something you'd like to do, or is the focus more on making sure he grows an edge because it is relatively new for him?
Both. We always look at different things, and with Keon, that's what's so special about him is that he can do both. And I love those. With my history, I love those type of players, and just getting him to understand the edge. We're not having a lot of depth there right now, and with him being out a couple weeks, it's tough because we want to keep these guys fresh and keep them rolling. I see Keon as a starter, even though he's not starting out there with Casey or Harold. That's how much. Last week was just trying to get him in, get his legs back in there. And then once things start slowing down even more, yeah. But he's definitely got a special gift rushing inside as well.
Mike, are we going handbar here?
Yeah, I usually bring it out a couple times a year.
Yeah.
Get back to my West Texas days. My wife don't like it, so.
They never do.
You're about to go on a road trip.
No, I never do. I get home and she's like, really? It's that time of year again?
I know he's not in your room, but just because, Milton, was kind of the last second thing for agency and almost went to Carolina and comes here and said, do you remember the moment when you heard first you guys were getting Milton Williams?
I do, and it was pretty close when he signed. I just remember Braves going back and forth, and they were working on it and all that stuff. But I was excited when we do. When you get an explosive guy like that inside, it helps the edges out a lot. We talk about the games and stuff like that. I mean, you have to start worrying about a guy inside. You can open a lot of things on the edge, vice versa. And so the more rushers you get, man, you can do some special things. And so we just got to get these quarterbacks to hold on to the ball a little bit. These last couple of weeks have been pretty quick getting out, which is a good thing. It helps.
And I'm trying to think about how to phrase this, but just looking back, seeing some of the pressure numbers are a little odd because when you look at it, it looks like they're being impactful and opportunistic, but some of the pressure numbers aren't exactly there. So what do you tell your team when you're playing a Tua or an Aaron Rodgers where it's like they're going to throw the ball in under 2.5 seconds?
Yeah, that's when you start getting your hand up. You got to get more push in the pocket. Do it. The thing with Aaron, when you looked at it, he was holding on a little bit longer before we played us. And then you just got to always look at the big picture. Harold had 15 rushes last week. I think it's what he had. When you really looked at it, he only had 4 one-on-ones. How you looked at it. There were screens, there were boots. The ball was getting out quick to the back. Those little ones where you're just throwing it out there. But when I look at it, okay, you had 4 opportunities. And so what are we making from those 4 opportunities? Every rush has got to count. I think Casey had 5 when you looked at it, that we weren't blooding or doing something. And so that's where we got to take advantage of the ops that we get. And we'll always be rolling, but you guys know what I'm saying. Sometimes it's not a lot. When you've got some good rushers, that's how it's going to be. Are you getting chipped? Are you getting thumped? That plays a factor into it. And so it's got a plan, and we roll with it. Just keep them positive and tell them not to worry about the sack stuff and just go affect the quarterback.
Do you expect to see more of that, kind of the space plays, boots, movement stuff, just understanding, missed tackle numbers are what they are.
Yep.
So if you're an OC, you're like, all right, let's get him in space.
Yeah, it's that, and it's just, when you got edges and inside guys like that, that's usually what you see. They get a little bit nervous, play pass under center, stuff like that, and so you get more out of the gun, Then you'll get the boots where somebody's, cracking down the edges. We usually snip them out pretty quick. So that'll affect you. But yeah, definitely you start seeing those more, It's been good questions today. Gosh almighty. Everyone's are so important.
I was just curious how Christian is, it's been a couple of weeks now. How do you feel he's acclimating, getting back into the swing of things?
It was good to see him back out there last week. Just had been so long since he's been out to get back in the flow of things, get some work. He's been this week going and doing what he's supposed to do in the training room, and just in talking to him, he sounds like he's starting to feel like he's close to his old self. So hopefully we can get him back to that. But it's the balance of obviously wanting back out there, but trying to do what's best for him and the longevity of this season and for his career.
When you get him back, whenever that is, how do you see what kind of impact he might have for your defense?
I think he's got some experience, but he's a very intelligent player. He does a good job communicating. He's got a good relationship with the guys in the room, and he's been through the battles. So I think that having a guy out there that has played as well as he's played gives you some confidence. But as far as he and I go, our relationship, we've not been out there together, during the game. So for him and for I to both be new. But I think what he brings is the talent that you see on the video or the tape when you watch him, and a guy that teammates want to play with him. And, hopefully we'll be able to go out and execute and pick up where he left off from last year.
I know he's been in meetings and stuff. Has he been able to kind of keep up with, however you're coaching the group and all, all the details and things you've been implementing?
Absolutely. During the time when he was out, every day I would bring a script out for him, and he would carry it with. Now, he would do his part in the rehab at the early part of practice, and then he would come over on the sideline with the guys, and he would have his script and be able to keep up in all the meetings. I was able to meet extra with him while special teams was going on, and he's all the time watching film on his own, so he stayed locked in as far as everything went with the game plan. And last week, especially because we thought for a little bit of the week that he might be able to go. And that part I don't have any concerns with because, like I said a minute ago, he's super intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one just regarding matchups. The size of Carolina's receivers. They've got some big receivers. McMillan obviously moves very well too as a rookie. How do you sum up the matchup? And if Christian is out there and able to give you snaps, his length, his abilities, how does that bode for your defense?
That's the part that we can't coach. We can't coach size. So having that with guys, the ability to move, the ability to stay connected to receivers that can separate is obviously a good thing. It's really, that part is great. But at the same time, I'm thinking about Marcus Jones, and he doesn't have the natural size, but can stay connected and has played really well for us also. So what you want are guys that are going to be out there that they know what to do. They're going to play really hard. And when they have the size and the God-given traits that they have, then that's just bonus.
We had Charles Woods just comes in, the very start of the season. He's out there last week. How difficult is that to get up to speed that quickly, and how has his transition been?
His transition's been great as far as his addition to the room, his personality, his professionalism. I think it's one of those things through the league, and I kind of go back to my days as a player where it's really unlearning what you used to call things, because most teams in the league, offense or defense, do a lot of the same things, just call it something different, have a different tweak here or there. And you kind of have to Rosetta Stone a little bit, where you say we used to call it this, now we call it that. And once you can unlearn what you used to call it, but also translate the concept, then it's usually pretty quick that they can pick it up. But he's been very good. He's been faster than a lot of the guys that mainly in Tennessee, that I experienced with. I was kind of the new player coach was my role in Tennessee, and he's picked it up extremely fast.
I don't want to put you in the spot to question officiating, but I'm just curious, the two pass interference calls last week, technique-wise, coaching point-wise, whether it's on the goal line, it was Alex, and or down the sideline, Carlton. Is there anything differently that those guys should be doing in those situations, or they just
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Please do.
It's usually the thing that I think is difficult about it is depending on the crew that you have that game. it may be called different, and you just have to adjust. We knew going in that the crew we had this past week had called a lot of either defensive holding or defensive pass interference the week before, so we were aware of it going in. I think the communication with the officials is a big part of it, but in terms of the technique, when you look at the video, it's really at the top of the route or as the receiver's going up for the catch point, it's trying to keep your hands in the inside frame of the receiver rather than the outside or on the back or the nameplate. And then it becomes some playing us defense, and no pun intended, but they're putting their hands on us also. So I've got to be able to use my hands in a way that's not the outside part of the frame that they're looking for, but still contest the throw, which is not easy to do.
Right. What have you seen from Carlton thus far?
It's been awesome watching him just in our relationship, the way that it's going, because at first, going all the way back to OTAs when he was in and out a little bit, we had a good relationship. We didn't really know each other. And then once we've gotten to know each other, he's the same guy every day. He's a great spirit. He has a lot of good experience. He brings a lot of good knowledge. And he's just fun to be around, and he's super, super competitive on Sunday. That's the thing I've grown to appreciate about him, is when you turn on the video, when it gets to Sunday, he's ready to go, whoever's on the other side.
When the Patriots signed Carlton, there was, some excitement and some buzz about the possibility of having, Christian on one corner, Carlton on another, on the opposite side, and what that could do potentially for the defense. As a coach, did you have the same, do you have the same kind of excitement waiting to kind of have both of them out there at the same time?
For sure. And my excitement comes from having seen him play, whether it be Gonzo last year or the year prior, watching his film. So we evaluated him and had him in Tennessee on a visit in college. But with Carlton, had seen his film throughout his years. You see the ability, and then you hear people that have either been with him here in Gonzo's case, or with Big T coming from Detroit with Carlton, and just what they say about him. So that's exciting. What's really excited me is seeing how they interact with each other. Like, they really are, they've created a cool bond, and they push each other, and they are good for each other. It's almost like yin and yang in terms of a guy that's been in it for a long time, a young guy, a guy that came in as a mid-round draft pick that had to kind of fight his way to become who he is, and a guy that came in as a first-round pick. But both guys, I respect the work that they put in, and their attention to detail, the time that they put in to taking care of their bodies, and their awareness and knowledge of our system and of the game. And yeah, it's exciting to think about getting them out there together.
Two more questions about it.
Yeah, another one?
Good. I'm good.
Go ahead, Gary.
No, go ahead. Thank you.
Bryce Young, the mobility, the ability. So many quarterbacks can extend plays, but his wheels in particular, how does it change?
It's really all 11. It's the rush, whether that be the upfront guys, whether that be blitzers, and then the coverage piece where the down is basically never over. You just have to assume that he's going to be back there moving around and extending plays. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I think the hardest thing for a DB is to just maintain eye discipline, to have my eyes where they're supposed to be on my coverage. And at some point you have a mental clock that says this play should be over by now, and the receiver's still moving around. So then that has to tell me, I can't look to see. It has to tell me that, okay, he must be scrambling. I need to stay on who I'm on. So those are the things that are unique, and it's becoming more common in the league with guys that are able to extend. But in Bryce Young's case, the guy extended all the way to being the number one pick and Heisman Trophy winner, so he's done it a lot. But we got to be on point, and he's going to present a good challenge for us.
I'm all
Good,
set.
Justin,
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Pleasure.
Likewise.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What's like the coaching points, for Christian and Milton? I'm sure going to get some extra attention all season, like to split those double teams and how to attack those types of things.
Yeah, I don't think it's really different. It's just understanding, like, extra attention comes with being a good player. Like, that's players that can impact games are going to get extra attention. And again, like, your technique and fundamentals, they don't change just because you get extra. Like, our process up front isn't going to change because of what someone does. So it's we always say the dollars in the details. So if you want to be able to be productive it's going to be those few details, and it maybe only happens once or twice, but being able to take advantage of them when you do get those opportunities, again, those are the ones that count.
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries.